Alright, welcome back Twitch, welcome back YouTube. Let's get back to just another game, Danganronpa 2, Goodbye Despair, as Class Trial 3 is actually speeding along pretty quickly. We've already had a Hangman's Gambit, which really early on the trial for that. But how was Hyoko's body hidden? Well, if we trace it back from the wallpaper, the answer should be clear. Alright, let's give this a try. Time for a logic dive. Which again, feels pretty early. Although we don't have much life because I got absolutely destroyed in the Hangman's Gambit. Absolutely destroyed. That's not the jump button. That is, okay. It's on the L side, not the R side. Now I have to concentrate. Jump! Things coming at me fast. I'm surprised we've had these two games already and not a rebuttal showdown yet. Question 1. Why did Hyoko's body suddenly appear at the crime scene? Well, obviously it was hidden. It wasn't brought there. I wonder how many questions we're gonna have. I thought I dodged that. For some reason I thought that was perspective made me think it was a single row stretching into the distance. These aren't too bad. They can get bad though. What did the killer use to hide her body? The wallpaper, not the curtain. I still say this reminds me more of Crash Bandicoot than anything else, and I don't know why. Other than Twinsanity. It's got nothing to do with any other Crash Bandicoot game besides Twinsanity. It just feels like a Crash Bandicoot thing. How did the killer hide her body with the wallpaper? Well, they had to cover the pillar. $1080 for Xbox. Not even like for Xbox. For PS1.
It's all coming together.
It's all coming together.
I got it. Hyoko's body was hidden before we found it.
But it would have taken quite a long time to tape up a hidden body.
No, the body was already taped up and the killer hid it, along with the pillar using the wallpaper.
What? They hid the pillar?
Yeah, by wrapping the wallpaper around the pillar, the killer was able to create a slightly larger pillar.
And you know, Hyoko was kind of a childlike frame, so there wouldn't be any bumps poking out awkwardly.
So when I first discovered Ibuki's body,
Wait,
Hyoko's body was already there.
This doesn't make sense though, because you can see they didn't think this thing through. You can see the hanging scrap off the ring. Even though it should be attached to the wallpaper, you shouldn't see that little scrap. They didn't think this through. Oops.
However, because it was concealed within a slightly larger pillar, I didn't realize that at the time.
Well, that's understandable. I mean, it makes sense that you'd notice Ibuki's body right away.
So they used the baton lighting on the ceiling to hang the wallpaper?
The baton lighting forms a perfect circle around the pillar, so using it to hang the wallpaper totally fits.
Okay, but here's the other problem with that. The scrap is hanging on the outside of the baton paper, but the pillar is on the inside. Shouldn't the wallpaper be around the outside of the baton lighting? Oh, I'm gonna stop pointing out the flaws.
Then, the reason the wallpaper was covered in so many stickers was to make it look like that pillar.
That's how they hid Hyoko's body, and then peeled off the wallpaper as soon as I left the music venue.
But the killer made a mistake. they accidentally ripped off a piece of the wallpaper. And because of that, a scrap was left on the baton lighting.
The killer must have been in a hurry. Their plan took too long. Hajime could have walked in on them.
But going to the trouble of hiding the body and the pillar is very bold and risky.
But the crime itself would be much easier to pull off since they don't have much to do while Hajime's gone. They just have to peel off that wallpaper and stash it in the storage room. It's not that big of a deal.
Then, when was Hiyoko actually killed?
Good point. And on that note, it's about time we shed some light on those imitation murders.
You mentioned imitation murder more than once. But what is that?
Why are you involving yourself? You're not part of the jury here.
Are you kidding me? You haven't seen my masterpiece? The Wizard of Monami 2.5D?
I feel like 2.5D movies could actually be pretty popular in this age.
Hey! Don't put my likeness in your movies without my permission.
You're pretty noisy for someone who eats mothballs.
Did he say mothballs or mossballs?
I don't eat moss balls. I just enjoy looking at them. I knew it. There are so many similarities. It must have been intentional.
Alright, now that we're past the comedy act. Yeah, sounded like you said moth. I don't think the actor read that right.
Ibuki's death by hanging matches the Scarecrow's death from the movie. Not just that, but Hiyoko getting taped up after her death matches the lion's death.
It's as if both crimes were replicas of scenes from the movie, although the mutilated Tin Man was omitted.
But why did the killer go to all this trouble in the first place?
Based on what we know, the reason the killer chose these imitations isn't that difficult to figure out.
The reason the killer imitated the two victims in that movie, I should be able to explain that now. Was it because they liked movies, to hide the weapon, to let their accomplice escape, to mix up the killing order? Clearly, it's to let her accomplice escape. Because they like movies. No, wait, to hide the. Actually, it's to mix up the killing order.
I see!
The reason the killer imitated two of the murders from the movie was so he'd mix up the killing order.
It wasn't intentional. They didn't have a choice.
Then, Hiyoko was actually killed before Ibuki?
A valid line of reasoning.
Yeah, it's valid. The condition of Ibuki's body suggests that as well.
What do you mean? If you're going to cry and beg like that, then I guess I'll hear about the condition of Ibuki's body.
You sundeer fuck.
I'm not even crying.
I'll let you sob as much as you want later. Just hurry up and tell me before I change my mind.
What a jerk!
Oh, I see. You want me to explain it to you, right? Because you don't understand what I'm saying, right?
An even bigger jerk? Impossible!
Look, Ibuki died because she hanged herself, right? That means when she was still alive, her feet were touching the floor.
What's wrong with that?
But it seems Ibuki was still standing when Hiyoko was killed. That would mean Hiyoko was killed before Ibuki.
How light. Your words are so light as the sylph's feather. Your opponent is out of your league. It is too absurd to try to perplex me so inadequately.
Man, he's being annoying again.
Just shut up.
First and foremost, you claim Ibuki's feet were touching the floor when Hiyoko was killed. How can a low-class creature with no psychic abilities like you know something like that?
Gamer versus gamer?
Because she was doing something that's only possible if her feet were on the floor.
Pissed off Chiaki is adorable.
It seems you suffer from a pathetic delusion.
You're one to talk.
Hey, you're the one standing between two dead girls. Anyway, if this continues, we're just gonna talk in circles. I think it's best if we clarify Ibuki's status when Hiyoko was killed. Blood on the soles, motel room key, thick scrap of paper, stepladder, candle. I'm pretty sure we're gonna be using the blood on the soles for this one. We just have to
Hiyoko
figure out
died,
where.
Ibuki's feet were on the floor.
I am telling you to present your evidence.
Did you see her walking?
No.
If her feet were on the floor, was there any sign she stepped on something?
Yeah, that's where we're gonna use it.
Were there
Let's see the rest of
even any
this.
footprints at the crime scene?
Maybe her feet were on the floor. But she was like sitting or something. So instead, there'd be a mark on her ass.
Weak, I say!
Yeah, you're fine with that
It
one.
doesn't even pierce my heart.
Chiaki said Ibuki was still standing when Hiyoko was killed, but is that really true? Ah, goddammit, you know
When
it
Hiyoko
is!
died, Ibuki's feet were on the floor.
I am telling you to present your evidence.
Did you see her walking?
If her feet were on the floor, was there any sign she stepped on something?
There we
I
go, we'll
agree with
consent to that.
Just as Sonia said, Ibuki stepped on something. That something was blood. There were faint blood stains on the soles of her slippers.
That is not Ibuki's blood, right? She suffered no external injuries. Then it's Hiyoko's blood!
What is with your voice actress today?
Hiyoko's only wound was a fatal slice on her neck. And she died almost instantly, right?
If Ibuki stepped on her blood,
It means Ibuki was still standing when Hiyoko was mortally wounded. Which means Ibuki was still alive at the exact moment Hiyoko was killed.
Don't underestimate the power of the evil eye.
Time for the first rebuttal showdown.
Is that it? A shepherd dressed in his Sunday's finest still reeks of lamb, Hajime Hinata.
Does that mean you have a rebuttal?
Does that mean you have a rebuttal? That's a good line. But are you sure you're sure? If I show you how serious I am, this world might be destroyed, you know.
No, Gundam's great. He's just melodramatic as hell. But he's amazing.
You're so frightened you can't even make a sound. It seems you've realized our difference in status.
Plus, like, he likes animals. You can't hate him because he's super good to his animals.
However, the time for conviction starts now. You better entertain me to the fullest.
Maybe. Alright, showdown time. Rope used for hanging, key, stepladder, candle, smudge on the floor. Alright, I know which blade I want.
You're saying the blood on Ibuki's feet belonged to impossible! Try to remember the crime scene. There was no... You can't step on blood that was never there. Just about what did you see, a nice nightmare?
Yeah, this is... I'm gonna have trouble with this one.
You're saying the blood on Ibuki's feet belonged to Hiyoko? Impossible! Try to remember the crime scene. There was no... You can't step on blood that was never there.
Okay, alright.
Just about
I see what I have to do.
See a nice nightmare.
We're gonna have to cut to the weak point. He's got respect for people in his own way. He's just like super melodramatic. Yeah, okay, despite his exaggerated protests, I feel like I've already seen an opening to counter. And I saw it when I sliced
You're
it.
saying the blood on Ibuki's feet belonged to Hiyoko? Impossible! Try to remember the crime scene. There was no blood on the floor. You can't step on blood that was never... Just about... Did you see a nice nightmare?
Alright, I can push forward.
As long as Ibuki's body has no open wounds, there's no doubt that that blood is Hyoko's.
Okay, maybe I could have sliced her
Hyoko was
nut.
taped to the pillar, yes, but it's possible that the pillar still had blood on it. However, you cannot step on the pillar with your feet. It's been nearly 3 years since I've had to use 60% of my power.
Okay, it is in the first statement. Alright. That word from earlier was the opening. In order to bring back the topic, looks like I have to be pushed back on purpose. This almost
Hyoko
never
was taped to
happens.
the pillar, yes. But it's possible that the pillar still had blood on it. However,
Push
you
me
cannot
back.
step on the pillar with your feet.
Danger! Danger! Danger!
You should feel proud of yourself. It's been nearly 3 years since I've had to use 60%.
Oh god,
of my
I've almost
power.
got no frame left.
Hyoko was taped to the
I
pillar,
was
yes.
pushing myself back.
But it's possible that the pillar still had blood on it. However, you cannot step on the pillar with your feet. You should feel proud of yourself. It's been nearly 3 years since I've had to use 60% of my power.
There we go. Okay, now I got the retreat.
Damn it!
I was overcome. He's gonna go back to the original topic. They play this every time you're overcome. It's the
You're
same
saying
line.
the blood on Ibuki's feet belonged to Hyoko? Ha! Impossible! Try to remember the crime scene. There was no blood on
There
the
we go.
floor.
Allow me to cut
That's
through
what we're
those
supposed to do.
words. That's not it. The reason there was no blood on the floor is because the killer wiped it away afterward.
Don't say such foolish things! You don't have proof of that at all!
See, the thing about Gundam is, and we're gonna see this as we go through his daily life story, but he's just really socially awkward. He wants to be around people, but he doesn't know how to express feelings, which is why he uses this persona.
Yes, I do. If you look closely, there's a streak on the floor where blood was wiped away.
He's really good to animals because he spent so much time alone with animals. Like, he didn't get any people time, so he's like really awkward around people.
When the killer tried to hide Hyoko's body, they probably cleaned the blood at the same time, but Ibuki must have already stepped in it, and the killer probably didn't even realize it.
The reason they wiped off the blood on the floor was so we'd mix up the order of the murders, right? Even if they're able to hide Hyoko's body, it'd be bad if her blood was left out in the open.
Plus, Ibuki's body was left out in the open, and it wasn't bleeding from any open wounds at all.
Hyoko's body was probably wrapped in duct tape to stop her bleeding. Actually, the bleeding will stop once the heart stops beating, so I don't think they had to go that far.
Open wounds are still a thing.
Aside from Mikon, none of us were aware of that fact, so the killer probably did not know it either.
Maybe the heater was running inside the music venue so it would screw with Mikon's autopsy?
Wait, how the hell did you know that?
That's right! I didn't know the time of death because of the heater!
If the time of death wasn't mentioned in the Monokuma file just to keep concrete evidence from us.
Yep. Since we have all this evidence, there's no one else who wants to object, right? Then it's decided. Hyoko was killed before Ibuki.
It appears that it is wiser to retreat for now. Fine then, but regardless of good or evil, there's no deceit in upholding one's convictions.
Can't you just shut up and back off?
Now then, let us resume our debate.
Wait a sec. There's something I want to run by Monokuma first.
Huh? Again? Didn't something like this happen last time too?
Hey, if the victim actually committed suicide, what are we supposed to do?
Huh? Suicide?
The same as always. You have to vote for who the killer is. Think about it. A suicide means you've killed the most important existence of all, yourself. Unfortunately, that means there's no Blacken to punish, but I guess in a pinch, I can always punish Monami.
Then everybody wins.
Why me?
Because nobody likes you.
Nagito? What do you mean? If the victim actually committed suicide?
Well, I mean, I understand Hyoko's death, but I'm wondering if Ibuki was really murdered. For example, it's possible Ibuki killed Hyoko and then committed suicide due to a guilty conscience, right?
That's totally impossible. Then she never would have killed her to begin with.
She was afflicted by the despair disease, remember? That means anything can happen.
Ah, yes. Everyone's favorite. The despair disease. Totally real thing.
But if Ibuki's the killer, she wouldn't have been able to falsify the sequence of the murders, right?
Wait, why wouldn't she have been able to?
After Hajime saw the hanged body,
Oh,
the
that,
sudden
yeah.
appearance of Hyoko's body soon after means the killer had to be alive at that time.
Derp, I'm dumb.
Then she was alive. When Hajime first discovered Ibuki, she was just pretending to be dead. If she waited until Hajime left, that's when she could have made her move and mess with the crime scene.
This is awfully convoluted for somebody who was under the gullible disease.
She hanged herself. Remember? There's no fucking way she could have faked that.
And if she was going to fake her death, I think she wouldn't have chosen hanging. Her body would have been defenseless in that state. If anyone touched her, that alone would have ruined her plan.
If anyone, like, you know, grabbed her legs and, like, bounced up and down, that probably would have ruined her plan, too.
I see. So that means there's no doubt that someone killed those two. I'm glad. Now I'm free to search for the killer.
What the heck?
There's still one more issue on my mind. If Ibuki didn't commit suicide, then just what was that video Hajime saw?
Huh?
According to that video you saw, Ibuki was by herself when she climbed the stepladder, right?
I mean, Hyoko could have been just out of shot.
Then does that mean someone forced her to do it?
Forced? Perhaps they used hypnotism or something?
No, because she was the gullible disease. Pretty much she was the brainless scarecrow.
I don't know anything about that.
Don't say it all proud.
Putting that aside, it seems obvious that the killer did something. So, maybe we should figure out who was able to do whatever that was.
So, an alibi.
You understood that?
Then our plan is to destroy the weakest alibi. Since Hajime has seen the video, it is clear what time the crime took place.
I mean, kind of?
But just to be sure, that surveillance camera doesn't have a record function, right?
It's a cheap-ass surveillance camera, you know? There's no way it'd have some kind of sweet recording feature.
Then, the video Hajime saw was actually live?
What time did Hajime see that video?
I saw it at the hospital, right before Monokuma's morning announcement. And I saw the body at the music venue a little after Monokuma's announcement.
By the way, can we just say that since Monokuma's announcement is like 10 o'clock, these people sleep in like fuck?
So Ibuki hanged herself right before Monokuma's announcement. And since we established that Hyoko was killed before Ibuki, that means the time that the murders occurred was before and during the announcement.
Then, we just have to find the person who doesn't have an alibi during that time?
Now then, I shall issue my decree. Let Operation Destroy the Weakest Alibi commence.
You heard the woman. Let's kill each other. Make your argument. Mikon, surveillance, Fuyuhiko, Sonia, movie invitation ticket. Alright, I'm actually kind of curious how we're going to be using these.
We can...
Let's refresh myself on what these accounts are. Mikon. Right up until the Monokuma announcement that morning, Mikon was with Hajime the whole time. Afterwards, she went to the hospital to check on everyone and realized Ibuki had disappeared. When she rushed out of the hospital to search for Ibuki, she apparently met up with Fuyuhiko. Okay. Fuyuhiko. After Fuyuhiko met Mikon in front of the hospital, they split up to search for Ibuki. They checked the movie theater and Electric Avenue, but they didn't find anyone. Apparently, Fuyuhiko and Mikon were only separated for a short time. And Sonia. Hiyoko was distraught because her kimono was disheveled and she was unable to tie it on her own. That's when Sonia apparently told her about the full-length mirror in the music venue's storage room. Okay.
Exclude the sick people like me and Akane, right?
And what about the others?
Your voice just
Right
totally
before the
changed!
morning announcement, I was totally sleeping in my motel room.
I think everyone at the motel was doing that.
So everyone who stayed at the motel doesn't have an alibi.
What about you guys?
I was where I was supposed to be, my own cottage.
That's not an alibi.
Aside from those afflicted by the disease, if nobody has an alibi, then Operation Destroy the Weakest Alibi has failed.
10 out of 10, I'm right, she has a stand-in. The murders supposedly happened before and during the morning announcement. The person who doesn't have an alibi for that time...
We can exclude the sick people like...
Okay, I'm going back to this. Before and after the morning announcement. Okay, Mikon was with me before the announcement. Fuyuhiko was, I guess?
Me and Akane, right?
And what about the others?
Right before the morning announcement, I was totally sleeping in my motel room.
I
This
think
one I
everyone at the
don't
motel was
remember.
doing that.
So everyone who stayed at the motel doesn't have an alibi.
What about you guys?
I was where I was supposed to be, my own cottage.
That's not an alibi.
Aside from those
The
afflicted
only one
by
I
the
can
disease,
think of is
if
Fuyuhiko.
nobody has an alibi, then
Or,
Operation Destroy the Weakest Alibi has failed.
actually... What if I used
We can exclude the sick
Mikon's
people like me and
account
Akane, right?
And what about the others?
Sonia's
Right before the
statement?
morning announcement, I was totally sleeping in my motel.
I think
Because she
everyone
says
at the
nobody's
motel
got
was
an
doing
alibi,
that.
but Mikon does.
So everyone who stayed at the motel does.
What about you guys?
I was where I was
So
supposed
maybe
to
I'm
be,
not supposed to
my
be
own
looking for who
cottage.
doesn't, but
That's
who
not
does.
an alibi.
Aside from those afflicted by the disease, if nobody has an alibi, then
Oh crap, I missed it.
Operation
I wasn't
Destroy the
paying
Weakest
attention.
Alibi has
I looked at
failed.
chat. Alright, let's
We
speed
can
this
exclude
forward.
the sick.
And what about the...
Right before the... I was totally sleeping.
I think everyone.
So everyone who stayed.
What about you guys?
I was where I was supposed to.
That's not an alibi.
Aside from those afflicted by the disease, if nobody has an alibi, then
There we go.
No, that's
That's what I was
wrong.
supposed to do. Cool. Break.
Hold on. Not all of us are missing an alibi. In fact, Mikon and I both have alibis.
you two have alibis?
Up until I saw that hanging video, Mikon and I were actually together for a while.
We even woke up together that morning.
Hey, what kind of situation is that?
She was smothering me with her boobs. Don't get excited.
I accidentally fell asleep on top of Hajime.
And Chiaki's kinda jealous.
Too much info.
Yeah, it's not like that. She just came to tell me Nagato's condition had improved.
And we went to the hospital together afterward. So we were together until right before the announcement.
I get it. You guys have alibis.
If that's the case, the killer must be someone else.
It's better if we think about it like that. The killer decided to falsify the murder sequence to hide the actual time of the crime anyway.
So it's inevitable that an alibi for both before and during the morning announcement would be very important.
So, can I just like point something out right here? There's a logic flaw. Kind of. If they falsified the time of the murders, how do we know, like, the murders actually happened when they were supposed to? In which case, you know, these alibis we have are actually kind of worthless.
It feels like Operation Destroy the Weakest Alibi has backed us into a corner instead.
But committing an imitation murder, is that really all it was?
Huh?
Faking the time the crime occurred by falsifying the murder sequence, hiding their alibi in the process.
Yeah, it was hot in Hajime's room. Oh, you meant in the venue. It can be hot in two places.
Was that the only reason the killer made both bodies imitate the movie?
Are you saying there was another reason?
Well, why not both?
I feel really bad for confusing you guys so much, but that's how I feel. I think the killer had a completely different reason for falsifying the murder sequence.
The killer had a different reason? If that's the case, are we still in the killer's trap? Inside a trap set by one of us? If so, then whose? And what kind of trap is it? It's an intermission trap!
Hiya!
Why, hello there, mon ami. The moss balls sure look tasty today.
Stop it!
Don't characterize me as someone who lives off of moss balls. And here's some chance time! What? What's that? Now then, mon ami's appeal time starts now. Huh? Appeal time? Your kind-hearted big brother is gonna give you the chance to reclaim your honor. Good luck! Show those jerks who treat you like a red-headed stepchild who's boss. That's 99% your fault. While you were whining, your time's already running out, so please make your appeal simple. About 30,000 words or so. That's too long. It'll just be a boring appeal. Come on. If your appeal is successful, there might be merchandise opportunities heading your way. Then... I'm Usami, magical miracle girl Usami. I'm an itty-bitty girl who's sweet like milk. Jeez. I thought a certain robot's little sister was supposed to be the best.
What a disappointment!
Who are you talking to about? I have no clue whatsoever. Would you like to save your current progress? Yes. And you know what? We're going to go ahead and call it an episode here. YouTube, thank you so much for coming out and joining me today. As always, I appreciate it. If you enjoyed what you saw, let me know. Give me likes, leave me comments. Remember to subscribe. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Twitch, we'll keep going in just a second.